What's up, guys? This is Spike Shooter here with Jonas Mark. What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
All right. Well, I want to talk about something that was kind of irking me a bit over the last week, and it's about a news headline that I saw about the USA Network being a little bit jealous that last week's SmackDown got a free Hell in a Cell match, which was with Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio. And that was right before the Hell in a Cell pay per view, which we had two of those. One that was Bianca Belair and Bailey, because we'd always want women's wrestling in a Hell in a Cell. And the other was Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley, which at least made sense because it was pretty much the last match of the feud. But they threw a fit and they wanted a Hell in a Cell match during this week's Raw. And they ended up doing that. And guess what the match was for this Hell in a Cell?
What?
Bobby Lashley, who was the champion, the world champion, versus Xavier Woods.
Why? What has Xavier done what has he done? Like anything?
I have no clue. I guess they were doing some sort of feud with MVP that boiled over to Bobby Lashley, and apparently this was a Hell in a Cell match. And the sucky part is, despite Bobby Lashley being the champion and being booked as being dominant, they went a full 30 minutes. 30 minutes with Xavier Woods, who is
Other than
who's
being a tag champion?
who's hardly ever won a match. So the fact that they were doing this and it lasted as long as it did was just absolutely insulting.
But like other than doing tag stuff, has Xavier done anything?
No, basically just his internet bullshit that he's been doing for 500 years.
Ugh.
But I think that was the only thing. But it just reminds me so much about how far off Hell in a Cell has really, really gone over the last 20 something years, that now we have to say that Xavier Woods was in Hell in a Cell. I mean, just think about that for a second. Xavier Woods, who was a tag team guy, who I before that was a jobber, can say that he was in Hell in a Cell.
I remember Hell in a Cell used to be something you had to earn, or that was like for top people, or it
Yeah.
was something that, the same with like Elimination Chamber and stuff, like, these are like the best of the best in this match. And Xavier, like, I don't care if he's white, black, whatever, he doesn't deserve it yet. Like, he hasn't had a singles push, he hasn't done
I don't
anything.
know if he ever does deserve it, but continue.
Like, maybe an Intercontinental or US title I'd give him, but like doing this like main event match, I just don't see why. What is this going to be, into a bigger feud? Are they going to try to like now push Xavier as singles? Like, he's just not a singles competitor. He's barely tolerable or watchable as a tag competitor. So like, I don't see the point of him being there. I
I
saw
mean,
some of the clips and
yeah.
watched it. It sucked.
I think what it was, though, I know that they're trying to do like a filler feud with Kofi Kingston, because we have to have Kofi Kingston be in the main event again. So that's the only thing I can think of. I know that there were rumblings of Brock Lesnar being the SummerSlam opponent for Bobby Lashley. I don't know, that's still going to be accurate, but no, honestly, what the fuck has happened to Hell in a Cell? I mean, not it's already bad enough that they had to make red and blue versions of the cage, which was absolutely awful to that they did that as a way to distinguish it between the brands, because it didn't look badass already, so you had to do that shit. But yeah, I mean, it really started when they decided to just make it a pay per view. I mean, you can't even have it be a payoff match anymore unless it's at a Hell in a Cell pay per view. But yeah, it seems like over the last, what do you say, 10 years or so, Hell in a Cell has just been a joke.
It's just been, well, that, like, so many of the big things, that Elimination Chamber. I mean, at least stuff like when Undertaker was doing stuff, his last ride match and the graveyard match, at least those sort of died out with dignity. But like,
Oh, the Buried Alive, right? Mm.
yeah, like, it's just, Hell in a Cell used to be like this, pretty much the best thing in my opinion growing up,
Oh, yeah.
next to fucking, what do you call it, WrestleMania. And now WrestleMania is a joke, and Hell in a Cell, they'll just literally throw anybody in. So how about next week we have Bianca Belair versus Bailey versus Sasha Banks versus whatever the hell Piper Niven's new name is. Just throw all of them in a Hell in a Cell.
Dewdrop.
Call it
My God,
Revolution.
that's a ridiculous name for a wrestler. For any wrestler. Dewdrop.
Yeah,
I
just
wonder what writer came up with that.
it's bad.
Yeah, but you know, both of us, we grew up seeing some of the best ones. I mean, I know I wasn't really watching it at the time when it was Mankind and Undertaker or Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, but I still remember good ones like Randy Orton versus Undertaker, Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker, which were really great matches in my opinion. And you know, the fact that they took the blood out around 2008, I think Edge and Undertaker was the first Hell in a Cell match that didn't have blood. But when you take that element out, that kind of dilutes it. But at least if you had the right wrestlers and you were able to tell a good story in it, it still would have been good. But now you're getting all these jobbers in the Hell in a Cell match, and even even that made it even worse. It's like now it's no longer like a weapon. It's basically just a prop for a good match. So honestly, at this point, why would you even continue to use it if that's the direction you're going to go in?
I just don't get, why would you. I still don't get the deal with making the cages different colors. I never would have guessed I'm watching SmackDown, other than the fact they're talking about you're on SmackDown every 5 seconds. You're seeing Titantrons, you're seeing everything in blue. You see at the bottom of the screen that says SmackDown. You see little cutaway segments and stuff saying, like when you cut back from commercial, last on SmackDown. Like, geez, I would have never guessed I'm watching SmackDown if I didn't see a blue cage. Like, that's just dumb.
No, I think that the fact that the free TV stuff came out just because of the broadcasters throwing a fit was kind of ridiculous. I mean, I will admit when they had Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio doing a free TV Hell in a Cell, that was like a little out of nowhere. Like it was kind of pointless to do that. I don't even know why that Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio even feuded to begin with. But at least I could take that over the one down on Raw, which was like absolutely ridiculous because Roman Reigns at least is legit and Ray is pretty beloved, at least by pretty much everybody. But yeah, this concept of giving Hell in a Cell away on free TV just kind of pissed me off a bit because that kind of gimmick should not be used in the manner that it was in, honestly. And the fact that they're using it on a pay per view and on a pay per view only was is just ridiculous as well.
It used to be steel cage matches that were
Yeah.
always. I remember a couple steel cage matches live on SmackDown or Raw and stuff, and that was stuff to look forward to. Hell in the Cell used to be the big one that you'd need to pay for. If they're giving
Right.
that away for free, then I can't think of any special matches that WWE has now that is pay-per-view exclusive.
Well, it's that. There's tables, ladders, and chairs. There's Money in the Bank, which I don't know why that's still its own pay per view. That should be like WrestleMania or something. But yeah, that was just my mindset on it. I think there are a lot of people that would agree with me on that one too, though. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I think it's time to give Hell in a Cell a rest. Give that change the pay per view to something else, and I don't know when you could bring it back. Honestly, if you got rid of it, because in this PC era where you don't want to show blood or chair shots or anything like that, you might as well just get rid of it for good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember well, you probably remember the Punjabi prison match. That was interesting and unique.
It
Granted,
was unique. I
it,
mean, the Great
it
Khali. There are a lot of different opinions on the Great Khali, but at least that gimmick was kind of interesting. But I kind of chuckled at the fact that he got injured before the very first one. They stuck Big Show in there with the Undertaker.
yeah, and then there was the other one with Batista or someone in there with him. Like,
I think that was Khali.
yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It was basically like the steel cage. You need to lift up the first one of the doors and then like climb over the top or go through the second. I'm like, that's I'll give him points for creativity on that.
Yeah.
Granted, I think they only ever had 3 or 4 matches, but like if they can just pull that out of nowhere and do it and make it special, like I don't know. I don't see what WWE could make for matches now that would be unique, we haven't seen before, and that would be fun to watch in this PC era.
Well, it's just a matter of the fact that when we were watching them, they never held back on trying to tell a story within it, using it as a weapon, using blood to really sell it. It's just this is what we got, and that's why I think another thing is giving matches. I guess what's the point of them, especially when you're putting so much safety, and the Smarks are saying we just want a good match that runs for an hour and 30 minutes or some sort of bullshit like that. I mean, it kind of becomes irrelevant by that point. So that I don't know. I want these things to have meaning again, but when you have people that are bitching and complaining about the slightest un PC thing, like a chair shot to the head, I know that people always talk about how about concussions and stuff like that, but I know that there were ways that they would have the hands up like that before the chair shot, but I don't know in regards to that. But yeah, it's just a sad state of affairs when our favorite gimmicks are no longer really have much real use at this point, and when it's just a prop.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like the WWE growing up I loved is like dying out. And granted it's been dying out slowly for a while, but that was a pretty big nail in the coffin, so to speak, that they just literally took something that, ooh, Hell in a Cell, this big, like, scary, intimidating match. And it's like, hey, let's put a good wrestler in with. I feel like they literally took a dartboard and just had all the wrestlers on it on a dartboard and just threw a dart. And they're like, all right, and the opponent for this Hell in a Cell is Xavier Woods. Like, I
Yep.
can't see any reason he should be in that.
So, just to sum it up, uh, Hell in a Cell should pretty much go away now. It seems like it's a prop, and that's pretty much about it. So, um, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll have another video out either later in the week or early next week. But until then, this is Spike Shooter and Jonas Mark saying so long and take care.
Later.